Today I'm really excited to share with you my new favorite pattern. So I am fully obsessed with the Seamwork Meg, and I have made 4 versions. And I'm really excited to talk you through what I liked about the pattern, how I kind of changed things around a little bit, and yeah, maybe even like my future plans to make more of them, because like I said, I am obsessed with this pattern. It is my favorite dress pattern. I don't know if I can even like make another dress from here on out. Like, I love it so much. But yeah, so I'll share all of that with you. Before I get into the versions that I made, I thought I would talk a little bit about the details of the pattern. So the Seamwork Meg is a very like boho inspired everyday dress. I think it is really, really great for, like, it's really versatile and easy to wear. Like, I can just chuck it on, but I feel like really put together. I think it strikes that balance of being easy to wear, but still like a nice elevated look. So going over the details of the pattern, I'll just pull this one out. So it has a scoop neck that is gathered up with a tie. Now the pattern calls for a ribbon, which I did do in one of the versions, but for the other ones I just sewed up like a little piece of bias binding. And then it has this really cool little split right here that you do as part of your facing. So let's see if I can open that up so you can see that a little more. Then the elastic, the waist is finished with elastic, that's what I meant, which is really great. I love how the skirt comes together. So it's basically, you have the skirt piece, a waistband, and the bodice, and you stitch them all together, and then you press the seam allowances up, top stitch them down, and that becomes your elastic channel. So I really like how it kind of gives it that shirred look without having to do any shirring, not making like endless lines. So it comes together pretty quickly. I really enjoyed that. The sleeve officially comes with a flutter sleeve, but in all my 4 versions, I did not make a flutter sleeve. I used the Seamwork bonus pattern piece, which is this sleeve here. I'll put this back for a sec. So that is the, it's like a little puff sleeve, so you get the gathers on the top here, another elastic channel, and then this little like floof bit, which I think is really cute, and it definitely like echoes the gathering that happens at the waist with the elastic. So I think that's really cute. There is a version where you can add, you basically have like 3 waistband. No, you do 3 lines of elastic because you have 2 waistbands. That was the version I did at first, and it was not good for me. And I ended up taking out that second waistband because it came down a little bit too low. It wasn't on my waist anymore. So yeah, so I just did the 1 waistband on all of these versions. I think it was a really fun pattern to make. Before I run away with like how much I love the pattern, I did have a couple of like cons, some things I didn't like, and those were, I found the construction of the neckline to be a bit confusing. I don't think it was detailed very well in the instructions. I kind of felt like I had to figure it out a bit on my own, and it worked well enough. I mean, I got there in the end, but on 2 of the versions I made, I just went ahead and simplified it quite a bit, which I'll talk about. And the other thing is, it does not come with pockets. So this version doesn't have them because I made this one up with basically no changes to the pattern. I did add pockets in all of my other versions because I feel like that is essential. The instructions like have a link to a Seamwork article that shows you how to do pockets, and that's fine, but I feel like it should just be included. So I was like annoyed about that. But other than that, over the moon with all 4 of the dresses that I have made. I really enjoyed the construction. Again, like aside from the neckline facing at the split, which I found a little weird. But once I kind of like worked through it, it was okay. Yeah. So those are my not so great things. But again, I really, really love, I mean, I made it 4 times. So, and I have like more, more fabrics in my stash that I also want to be Meg dresses. So yeah, I have some cons about it, but overall, like, I'm obsessed. I love it so much. I think it really strikes the balance really well of, yeah, again, like something that you could just throw on. It's super easy to wear. It's not, nothing about it is tight or constricting. It's very like easy flowing, but still like looks really nice and is great for building an outfit around if you need to like look a little bit smarter or even have like an event to go to. Yeah. So I love it, and now I'll get into my versions. So this like ochre floral is the first one that I made, and it was kind of meant to be like a wearable toile. While I do really like the fabric, it was something that I was like, well, if it doesn't work out, I won't be crushed. But it did work out, and I love it, and yeah, I've been wearing it all the time. So I made this one like mid-August, I think. And yeah, I wore it. It's October now, and I have worn it at least once a week, if not more. Yeah, I really, really like it. But it is not the best fit. Like I said, it is my first attempt, and I learned a lot from it. So on the Seamwork size chart, my bust and my waist put me at a size 18. And then I might even be like a 14 in the hips, but because it's like a free-flowing dress, I just decided to go based on my bust and my hip size, or my bust and my waist, sorry. And this is more or less how it turned out. I did end up taking in quite a bit from, not from the waist, but like really from here up toward the armpit. I think I took out 3 centimeters on each side. I didn't want to go too far that then the sleeve wouldn't fit in. But yeah, and this is more gathered because of that. Yeah, and I don't really love how like bluesy it is. Again, because it is like so easy wearing, and I like the print. I love the neckline and the sleeve. It all kind of like weighs out for me that I still really like the dress. But yeah, in terms of fit, this is not my favorite. I definitely prefer like a bit, I don't like to have more excess here since I already have like so much going on here. I like for this to be like a little bit more streamlined. But again, like when it's hot, this was like my favorite thing to wear because it doesn't like touch me all that much, and it kept me nice and cool. But yeah, overall I still really, really like this dress, and it did teach me to size down. So I'll go to the next version. This is my second version. So as you can see, shape-wise, a bit different. I used the bonus sleeve, but I just lengthened it, I think about 30 centimeters, and then finished it just with an elastic. I had initially done this hem, so having like the little ruffle on it, but I felt like it kind of made it like sleepwear. So I took it off and just did this little thin elastic. Yeah, the fit is much more what I like. The only thing is that it's a little bit short in the bodice, so it's kind of a little empire waist-esque, which I think is fine. I do prefer the other 2 versions. I added just a little bit of length here so that the both rungs of elastic hit more around my waist. But I'm okay with that. It's fine. The other thing that is different is instead of doing the whole split neck facing construction so that you would have like here where the drawstring like comes out of the split. Oops. I just did buttonholes. So I cut the bodice on the fold, the facing on the fold, and I just left off like the little extension part for the split. And I just did 2 little buttonholes right here. And I think it worked out just fine. It was so much easier. It was so much quicker, way easier. And I don't really feel like I'm losing anything from it because it's not like I could ever wear it open to not have it tied up, because you really need like the cinching action here. So yeah, that was the only other thing that I did differently. But yeah, I'm really happy with the sleeve length. Again, I learned to add a little bit of length here, but I do think that the 16 fits me a lot better than the 18. The fit in the shoulders is still great. It's not too tight like in the armpits here. The only thing is just that the waist is a little on the shorter side. But yeah, I really like this one. It might be my favorite because of the fabric came from an old project that I was really sad about. And the fabric itself is one of the nicest fabrics that I have ever worked with. It is also a viscose, but this one is like no other viscose I've worked with before. It is super, super fine. It's really soft, but it's almost like a chiffon weight. Like it's super, super light. It's not entirely opaque, and that is a thing that I will be mindful of like in the summer. In the winter, like I'll wear it with tights and it's fine. You don't notice it so much on the blouse, but the skirt is a little on the see-through side. But yeah, it's so, so soft. It feels so good on the skin. And that is why I saved my failed other dress. So I'd made the Alborg dress from How to Do Fashion, which is a wrap dress. It's like a midi length A-line, very like 70s-esque. I loved it. But I made the silly mistake of not doing a full bust adjustment. So it wasn't too tight around here because I had sized up. I had basically chosen my size based on my widest part, which at the time was my bust. And so then it was really, really big, like here in the shoulders. And it made me feel really frumpy, and that was so sad because like I loved the dress, I loved the fabric, but I just like couldn't wear it without feeling like, I don't know. So I was really glad that I saved every little scrap of fabric that I had, and I was able to get a whole new dress out of it. I did have to add like a little front seam to the skirt, which is funny that I like eliminated the front seam in the bodice, but then had to add one in the skirt, but it's fine. Yeah, I'm really glad I was able to salvage it. Again, the fabric feels amazing. Like it's really nice to wear. I'm curious how, because even though it's a fabric I've had for a long time, I didn't wash and wear it very much. So I'm definitely going to take extra care when I launder this. I really hope that the viscose, especially dark print viscoses, can get kind of funny after being washed a few times. So I'm going to take a lot of extra care to make sure that I can preserve this one because I love wearing it, and I know I've already worn it like a bunch of times, even in the month, little under a month since I made it, and I know I'll be wearing it a whole bunch more, yeah, throughout like probably every season except for summer because the colors work nicely, and again the fabric is so light. Here is version 3. So I forgot to say where my fabrics came from. So both of these are from Minerva. Maybe I did mention it. Now I don't know. But the point is, I bought both of these and they are still available. This one was given to me in exchange for a post on their site. So I will link that below and you can dive into more detail about sewing with Lyocell, which is what this fabric is. Yeah, so each of my versions was made in a viscose-ish. And Lyocell is like, it is viscose, it's just like a more specific tier of viscose. But they all like handled very differently. So this one is a lot heavier. It's a Lyocell Twill. And I don't know how, if any of the texture like will come up on screen. It was quite difficult to photograph. Got a lot of that like weird wavy business. But yeah, I really like this one. It was not the easiest to sew. Yeah, Lyocell just like behaves a bit differently, or at least this one does, because it's a bit, this one is quite heavy. It almost feels like it's brushed maybe. So I had to kind of figure out which needle to use. A Microtex needle wasn't quite like strong enough, but a regular like 80, like a medium-sized needle was creating some snags. So I had to kind of like troubleshoot there. But overall, I'm really happy with it. I think this dress looks so different in a print versus a solid, and solid dresses are definitely something that I don't have very much of in my wardrobe. I think this one, for me, it's like right at the edge of Milkmaid still being cute and not too costumey. Because I definitely get very like Drindle vibes from this, which again I think is really cute. It's just not usually my vibe. But I think this one is wearable enough. It is like a bit toned down, and I really like it. I think the color is, I don't even know like how to call it. On the website it says it's mauve, but it's almost like kind of like an electric-y purple. It's kind of like if you took fuchsia, but then like toned down the saturation. I think it's really cool and unique. I like it a lot. For this one, I again made the size 16, but I added just a centimeter to the end of the bodice, or not the end of the bodice, I should say. I used the lengthen and shorten lines from the pattern, just added an extra centimeter, and I think it sits a lot nicer than the blue one. Again, it's not going to stop me from wearing this one because I love it so much. But I like the fit through here a lot better than this one. I think there's when I was sizing the pattern down, I think the difference between sizes on the grade is about 1.5 centimeters. So I didn't quite go that far, but I went like, I think it's far enough, and I think it looks really good here. Again, I didn't say on the last one, I drafted pockets. I added them to each version after this one because I was just like so annoyed that I didn't have pockets. And yeah, that went great. And yeah, that's this one. Again, the texture is super, super nice, and it's actually supposed to be really nice this week, so I'm hoping to get a bit more wear out of it before we get like fully into fall winter, because I don't think it's something I'll reach for in the colder months, because like it's short sleeved and like the puffs are kind of hard to layer up with. But I'm gonna wear it for as long as I can, and definitely like it'll be one of the first things I get out in the spring. So this is my latest Meg. I don't know why I have to do like this with my arms every time I introduce what I'm talking about. Here we go. This is my latest one. I was gonna say my last one, because it is the last of the lineup that I am sharing today, but it will definitely not be the last Meg that I make, because I love this pattern so much. So this one, yeah, is a contender for the favorite. Definitely between this one and the blue one. This one makes me feel like a garden god, like a woodland goddess, or like a little cottage witch. Like I love it so much. It has such a woodsy, like 70s feel. And yeah, I love all of these colors. There's even like, so there's like the rust and the yellow, the orange, all very like autumnal colors, but it also has like some purples in there, which I love, mixed in with the yellow and orange. Yeah, there's like several different types of green. I love it so much. It's, yeah, like my whole color palette in a dress. Yeah, and the fabric is really nice. I got this one from Stoffen back in March. It is sold out, I'm afraid. I would have bought more of it if it was available, because I had quite a time fitting everything that I wanted to do into the 3.5 meters that I had. So this version with the short sleeve, or the short like puff sleeve, and the knee length, that takes 3 meters on its own. I knew for this one that I wanted full length sleeves, and I wanted the skirt like as long as possible. Again, to just like really play up the 70s vibes of this fabric. And I did a pretty good job. So I cut everything on the flat so I wanted to save fabric. This viscose is very, very slippery. It almost feels like a chiffon or like a poly organza. Like, it's very, very bouncy. I did this like to show, that's what I was doing, to show like the movement in the sleeves. I wasn't just like, I don't even know. It's very bouncy. That's what I'm saying. It did press well. But like when it came, it feels like a synthetic would feel. So I did a burn test. It is viscose. But yeah, behaved very differently than the other ones that I worked with. So it's really slippery. I did not want to cut on the fold and like have a wonky side. So that was reason number 2. Reason number 3, I really did not want one of these giant orange flowers either like on my boob or on the crotch. This one is like borderline, but I feel like it's kind of more like tucked in rather than just like full on the boob. So I was really, really proud of myself. I'm really glad that I invested that extra time in the cutting out phase to make sure that I had everything like I wanted. I managed to get an extra 11 centimeters on the hem. Of course, you can't like see that now, but if I haven't already, I will put in a picture so you can see the difference. Yeah, with like the midi length. I would have loved it to be like half an inch, even just half an inch longer. And I should have hemmed it with bias tape. That would have been the way to go. But, you know, hindsight 2020. It's still really good. I'm still really proud of like all of the pattern Tetrising that I did in cutting out. So yeah, the other thing that I did was, again, because of like the size of the print, I did not do the split front. I just did buttonholes like I did with the blue version. Having made it twice, like I was confident in getting the facing right this time, but again, I just didn't want like, because it's such a big print. I was even concerned about having the big print differ on the waistband, but because of all the elastic, like I think it doesn't matter. I'm fine with it. Yeah, and then I added pockets. So is that all the changes that I made? I think so. Lengthen the skirt, lengthen the sleeves. Oh, and I did the sleeves a bit differently. So I made kind of like a faux cuff. Instead of just doing like the baby elastic at the hem, I went for really giant elastics. This is 4 centimeters. And it was really tough. It was a lot of fabric and a small amount of space to get. So I wanted it tight on my wrist, and to do this thick of elastic was very, very tricky. I ended up actually sewing my presser foot to the elastic, to the dress at one point. I had to like really finagle that around. So that was a struggle, but I really like it in the end. As much as I love like the clean look of a cuff, I need to have elastic. Like, I have a kiddo and we're always cooking and crafting, and just like the amount of hand washing that I do because we are in still a pandemic, I can't just be like undoing little buttons and like rolling it up all that. Like, I need to just be able to have access to my forearms whenever I need to and have that be comfortable. So I'm glad I went with the thick elastic, even though it was a pain to put in. I think it's a good compromise for me. Again, I like the look of a cuff better, but until I figure out like how to, I thought about maybe like putting an elastic, just like an elastic piece in part of like a woven cuff. I don't know. It needs more like experimentation. So that's like the one area that I'm not 100% happy with this dress. But for now, I'm really glad. And again, I have like 5 centimeters extra in the hem if I do ever decide to change it out. I'm also going to keep my scraps because I learned that lesson with this dress. If I ever like size out of this or decide that I want something different, be able to have that option. The other thing about this dress is it's the only one that I did an actual ribbon with per the pattern. So in these 3 versions, I like made my own drawstring because either I like didn't want to like pop out to the haberdashery to get something, or like I think it would have been hard to find a good match for this color. I think probably black or navy would have been fine for this. And then I just really liked having it matching for this yellow one. This one, I thought like the satin ribbon really kind of elevates it a little bit, but I happen to actually have some 6mm black satin ribbon just in my stash, which is that's the width that it calls for in the pattern, either a cording or a 6mm ribbon. I had it in my stash and I just like didn't like the look of it. I thought it was way too skinny, so I did end up popping back out and getting this one, which is 1 centimeter, and I think it looks so much better in proportion like to the channel and just to like everything that's going on in the bodice here. To have a bit more substantial ribbon, I think looks a lot better, and I really like it throughout. I think this one, I'll just pull it back up. I think this one is a little wide. This one is like, this is probably like 5/8 of an inch, 15 millimeters. I think that one's a little bit wide, but I think it works okay since it's like a solid. And then these ones, it's about 1 centimeter, maybe like a little thinner. But I think it like fills out the bodice a bit nicer when it's a little bit thicker. The other thing I didn't do was I didn't edge stitch the channel. And I think I straight up forgot on these 2. But on my first one I did do it because I was like going through the instructions. And it does make it like the channels stick out a little bit more and like give some more definition to the gathers, which I think is very cute. But for this one, like I actively decided not to do it. Again, I basically forgot like on those 2, and that's why they're different. But for this one, I purposefully left it off because I just really like how soft the neckline sits, and then having like the contrast of the black satin I think looks really great. So again, I love this one. Talking about it, I think it might actually top it and be my favorite of the 4. I think this one has just like a lot of sentimental value and like personal reward because I took apart something that wasn't working for me and made it work for me again. So I'm really proud of myself for that. And so I kind of have like, in terms of the making process, this blue one is my favorite. In terms of what I want to wear at this moment right now as we move into autumn and winter, it's this one. I'm even thinking about like making a like straw witch hat. That I've seen that trend on TikTok a bunch, and going as like a cottagecore witch for Halloween. It's like one of my Halloween ideas, but I just want to wear this dress like as much as possible, really. I love it so much. It's so cute and comfy. Yeah. So yeah, those are my 4 versions. And it's probably where I should have ended, but I have a couple more things to show you. As I mentioned, this is my latest Meg dress, but it was not going to be my last. So I went into my fabric stash and I wanted to share with you the other fabrics that I have like earmarked for this pattern. Now I don't think I'm going to sew them all like tomorrow because I've already made 4 in like less than 2 months. So I'm going to try to chill about it. We shall see if that's what happens or not. But yeah, I wanted to show a couple other fabrics in my stash that I would really love as Meg dresses. So this one, they're all viscoses again, because I just love this pattern in a viscose is so perfect to me. This one I bought a couple years ago from Drisa. It is, yeah, so it's not available anymore. Actually, none of these are available anymore, so sorry. But hopefully they're like still fun and inspiring. But I love this one. I bought it because it reminded me of my grandma's dishes. So when I was growing up, my grandma's house in Reno had like all of these very 70s colors and like the classic like brown and orange floral dishes. I think she had like lamps and pillowcases. Like they built their house at the end of the 70s. And so everything was just, even 25 years later, like it stayed that way and I loved it. So this really reminded me of her and like all the good memories I have at her house. So it's a very like sentimental fabric. And I've had it for like 2.5 years and I couldn't think of like the right thing to go with it because it was so special to me. Now I would be like very happy with a Meg. Again, like pairing all of those like boho 70s vibes I think would work really nice. So it has like, it's just the prettiest colors like pink and orange. There's several like green khaki tones. And I just love this one so much. I'm not sure yet like what I would do as far as like, I have 4 meters of it, so I could go like for this model again with the midi length and the long sleeves, but I think color wise I might want it for something a bit more summery. So I'm probably not going to make this one just yet, but it is in my stash like earmarked for spring. So that's that one. Let's see if I can like put these back nicely without. This thing is like so flimsy, this little rack that I have here, so I'm always like a little afraid. Anyway, this one is a like very sheer, I actually wouldn't be surprised if it's like a viscose cotton mix. By the feel of it, it's like very voile-esque. But this is another like precious fabric in my stash that I have had. I think this is one of the oldest fabrics in my stash actually. I got it like in 2017. So this is how I can tell how much I love this pattern, because 2 of my oldest fabrics in my stash that have been super precious to me, and I couldn't decide for ages what I'd want it to be. I want them to be this pattern. So again, this would be like very summery. It's a super lightweight. It's very sheer. So I would need to, I could line it, I suppose, but I'd probably just wear a slip underneath. Yeah, really just cute, like little abstract dots. It's really not that different than the popular Lady McElroy one, only this is like thinner, I think. But yeah, you could definitely pick that one up somewhere. Again, I got this in 2017, and like polka dots were not a thing. They've definitely like made a comeback in the last year or so. And then like, you know, that Zara dress was everywhere. So this is like kind of similar. But I have 3 meters of this, and I'd probably just go with this sleeve, either with the ruffle or without the ruffle. I'm not quite sure. Actually, I don't even know if you can see this. I'm pointing to the pink one where I left off the ruffle, and the gold one where the sleeve ruffle is on. So yeah, I think I'd go for the sleeve ruffle. I think that would be really cute in this, and I have 3 meters, so it would work. And then lastly, this is a fabric that my friend gave me for my birthday. This is a Lise Taylor viscose. It really actually feels more like a cotton. And so she gave me 2 meters of this fabric and a really, really gorgeous matching, it's downstairs, so I don't have it with me, but it's a velvet ribbon in the same color, and just seeing the fabric with the ribbon, I was like, oh my gosh, it has to be a Meg dress. So I managed to track down, this was, I think, the print is called Herbaria, because there are little herbs on it. And I think it was released last year. So I was not able to find any in the Netherlands, but I did track some down. I saw some available still in the UK, some in Germany on sites that would not ship to the Netherlands. And I finally found 80 centimeters in a shop in France. So I was really excited to track that down, and it should be coming anytime. But with 2.8 meters, I think I can like just squeeze out either the like, I think I'll be able to do the puff sleeve without the little ruffle. I feel like there has to be a name for this kind of ruffle, but I don't know what it is. If you know, you should definitely tell me. But yeah, I think this will be so pretty, and I'm gonna make it as my Christmas dress for this year. I'm super excited. I get to go home to the Pacific Northwest for Christmas for like the first time in many years, and I will have a gorgeous like crimson Christmassy dress in my favorite pattern, in a fabric I got from a friend. So I'm like very, very excited about that, and we'll be making a start on that very soon. So yeah, those are my Meg collection, both current and future, my future Megs. I hope that this video has been helpful, talking about like the pattern and how it wears. And yeah, if you are into boho-y, peasant type easygoing dresses, you should definitely check out the Meg. It has a pretty good size range. I think it goes up to like, I want to say like a 63-inch hip. Seamwork has recently revamped their sizing, so they added, I think, 2 more sizes. And yeah, I will have, the sizing info will be below, as well as links to everything that is still available, including the pattern and the fabrics and the blog that I will have written. I haven't done it yet, but I will by the time this goes up. So yeah, thanks for watching. I always love to have you here, and until next time, happy making. Bye!